This is the new BMW i7 M7. It has a little bit more performance and slightly sharper looks than the standard i7, but it's a lot more expensive. Let's start off with the most important thing about this car. It's the upgrade to the performance. So let's see what this thing is packing under its huge bonnet. There's a lot of plastic. What's under here? A massive high performance motor or something? Let's have a look. This is what I'd normally do if it was an engine. Oh, that all looks rather dull and a bit of a waste of space. Anyway, on the front axle, you've got a 258 horsepower electric motor, which is the same motor you have on the standard i7. However, it has a more powerful motor on the rear axle, which puts out 489 horsepower. And combined, when they're working together, those two motors produce 660 horsepower, which is 116 horsepower more than the standard i760. However, it's slightly less horsepower than an AMG EQS 53 and of course a Tesla Model S Plaid, which has over 1,000 horsepower. But let's not worry about that. Let's launch this car to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. BMW says this car will do 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Let's find out the reality with the specialist timing gear. Launch time. Oh, the noise then when it took off. We've got a time of 3.3 seconds. That was very quick. To cope with the extra performance over a standard i7, BMW has fitted the M70 with some upgraded M performance brakes. There are other changes to the chassis as well to make this car more fun to drive. For instance, they've retuned the suspension with M Sport suspension, so the air suspension now has smaller chambers to make it slightly stiffer and sportier. Also, they've recalibrated the dampers to make them more responsive and the car more agile. Other changes include rear wheel steering as standard, once again to make the car feel more agile, yet also more stable at speed. They've even fitted some extra bracing in the front between the shock towers to make the car more responsive, and they've also given it active anti-roll bars to stop it leaning so much in bends. Then you also get slightly lighter alloy wheels for less unsprung mass, plus you can upgrade the tyres to sporty tyres. So, what does this all mean to how this car drives? It's time to find out. Right, let's try this car out on a twisty bit of Portuguese country road. So, have those upgrades really enhanced how this i7 drives? Does it turn it into a proper M-like kind of car? Well, I'll give it this. For a big car, it goes around corners pretty well. There's not much lean through the bends thanks to that active anti-roll system. And there's plenty of grip and loads of traction as well from the four-wheel drive system. And of course, loads of performance. But does the setup really encourage me to want to drive this car fast? Not really. I mean, ultimately, you do run out of grip when you push really hard into the corners because it's so heavy. And I really don't think that the changes to the chassis are that significant to really elevate this car into one that feels like a true M-like performance car. The power feels M-like performance-wise, but the handling and chassis upgrades aren't a big enough step, I don't think, over the standard i7. I mean, it's good, it's competent, it does a great job going down the road, but it's not why you'd buy it. You wouldn't go, oh yeah, the handling is so much better, it's so much more sporty and fun. I have to have the M70 version. The only real reason to get this car over a standard i7 is for the added performance, and the performance is utterly brutal. Let me just do this, look. If I hold this up like that, I'm going to accelerate. I mean, look what it does. The way the power comes in is just insane. It's almost neck snapping and it's quite uncomfortable, but it does feel quick. However, is that what you want from your luxury limousine? I'm not sure that it is. You see, in the past with the old M760 Li, that used a 12-cylinder engine, and yes, it was powerful, and yes, it was fast, but it was also smooth and refined. And one of the reasons to have the 12-cylinder engine, it just felt more sophisticated, more expensive, and quieter, and smoother than a V8, than most definitely a 6-cylinder diesel, and especially a 4-cylinder diesel. With electric cars though, regardless of the power output, they are all smooth and they're all refined. And actually, when you add more power, they can become a little less comfortable because, as you saw when I just used my microphone as a pendulum, the acceleration is so brutal that unless your driver's really careful, having one of these would make the car just uncomfortable to be a passenger in. And once again, that begs the question, is having more performance in a car like this really necessary? BMW has made some changes to the i7 M70's exterior to help make it seem a little bit more sporty. Most noticeable is the black grille with black surround, and on this particular car, which is fitted with the M Performance Pack, it also has LED surround for the grille, which looks like this at night when you turn it on. What do you think of that? Tell you what, I like this feature though, the recess in the bonnet, just like on an M3 and an M4, the way it leads to the badge. Other changes for the M70, you've got a more aggressive lower front bumper. The radiator part down here is actually slightly smaller than on the standard i7, but you have bigger breathers down the side to smooth airflow. And of course you get the obligatory M badge. Moving down the side, you get 21-inch M alloy wheels, you get your brake calipers gloss black, there's more M badging here, and the fistable M door mirrors. You get black door handles and some M side skirts.